and welcome to the video version of my journal. I'm Stephanie Rivers. I wrote a check to somebody the other day and I assumed he would take my check and put it into his checking account. But an hour later he called me from the check cashing place saying the cashier needed to verify some information before she would cash the check. As I wrote the check to the guy, something told me to ask him if he had a checking account to deposit it into. But then I thought, no, I don't want him to think that I think that all Latinos don't have checking accounts, so I didn't. As it turned out, I wish I would have. I could have saved him some check cashing fees by doing the transaction another way. Coincidentally, the next morning, a radio report stated that nearly 50% of Latino and African American households do business without using a bank account. That's compared to less than 2% of white households who also operate without the benefit of a checking account. While conventional wisdom tends to support the idea that every family should have at least one bank account, the more I know about the American banking system, the more I realize it's really a choice between the lesser of two evils. In the radio report I read, one official said that gone are the days that a person can just walk into a bank with $100 cash, put it into an account, and walk out with an account. Now some banks do credit checks to determine if they are willing to give a person a checking account. That, in addition to the banking industry's practice of charging exorbitant overdraft and minimum balance fees, would make anyone question whether opening a bank account is worth the trouble. Statistics show bank policies favor account holders with larger accounts, and they don't favor people who keep little to no money in their accounts and keep little to no track of the balances they have. On the other hand, alternative service centers such as payday loans, check cashing, and pawn shops are closer than the nearest bank in most minority neighborhoods. And while most of those have higher service fees than banks, the frequency that banks charge account holders for everything from bounced checks to ATM usage often amounts to more money being sucked out of that person's account. Bank account advocates argue that having an account increases the chances of getting personal or mortgage loans, but most banks aren't approving loans these days anyway, so what's the use? And older generations have conducted business without the benefit of banks for decades, and they owned more property and they were more debt-free than most Americans until the recent economic freefall. So the banks want us to stand in line. Let me get this straight. They want us to stand in line to get qualified to put our money into their low-interest bearing account, and then they turn around and use our money to lend out for credit card use at double-digit interest rates. After we make the money, it seems it's harder even to just keep it, because if you put it in a bank account, sometimes it's going to be sucked up by the bank fees and the other charges anyway. No, the choice to do business at the local check cashing store has little to do with criminal elements who try to hide money from prying government eyes like most people think. It has more to do with the lesser of two evils, and for some people the check cashing store wins out. To see the written version of my journal, go to the website evaulating.com. Thanks, and have a super day.